Beyond Compare Wrestling presents BCW Random Draw.
Thank you for joining us, everyone, and some big matches here tonight on the card. We have a number one contenders match between Grizzly Mac, Victor Payne, and Benson Hicks. We will do the tale of the tape later, but suffice it to say, these three men are not known for losing. They are the three top contenders. We're putting them in the ring, and we're going to find out who gets the next title shot here tonight. And to preserve the integrity of the main event, we have Amir Man and Fancy Dan in a special bonus match here tonight, taking out the element of the support systems for Benson Hicks and Grizzly Mac. And we are bookending this event with world title matches, so tonight we are kicking it off with the BCW World Tag Team titles on the line. The Brotherhood getting a second chance against the Exiled after an absolutely career-defining performance in the last one. And as we see here doing a recap, it was Isaac Taylor being taken out in that tag team match, leaving Cameron Lewis to essentially fight a handicap match. Cameron Lewis looked absolutely amazing. It was the performance of his career, and I think it was the performance of BCW. No one else in the history of BCW has performed so well in a match. There were flashes of greatness, and there were times where I thought Cameron Lewis was going to be able to come out with the World Tag Team titles in a handicap match. But just like how it took out his partner Isaac Taylor, that Nightmare Fuel powerbomb took out Cameron Lewis. But it was Mr. GM that saw that Cameron Lewis had the performance of a lifetime, gave the Brotherhood a rematch, and he also gave Isaac Taylor a match against Ultimo Nightmare, and post-match it was Ultimo Nightmare just destroying Isaac Taylor, putting him through that table, softening him up even further for tonight's match. And as we get into the Brotherhood, they have some bumps, they have some bangs, they have some scrapes, they have some minor injuries, but that is not going to stop them from cashing in their BCW World Tag Team title shot. And if Cameron Lewis was able to nearly defeat the Exiled in a handicap match, will the addition of Isaac Taylor be enough to tip the odds in the favor of the Brotherhood? This is their second time facing the Exiled for the tag titles. This is their third overall BCW World Tag Team title shot. Will the third time be the charm? Can they get the job done? BCW World Tag Team titles to kick off action here tonight.
Making their way to the ring at a combined weight of 495 pounds, the future Cameron Lewis and Isaac Taylor, the Brotherhood.
A battered Cameron Lewis and I'm sure a battered Isaac Taylor making their way to the ring here, as we can see Cameron Lewis all bandaged up after competing in that handicap match a few weeks ago. And Isaac Taylor, he's got that bodysuit on, but I'm quite confident that he is bandaged up too after going through that table from Ultimo Nightmare. A little worse for wear, but the will is strong in this one. Can the Brotherhood get it done tonight?
Making their way to the ring at a combined weight of 540 pounds, the undisputed BCW World Tag Team Champions, Ultimo Nightmare, and the hardcore icon Xander. They are the Exiled.
They are the only team in BCW to be undefeated. And rightfully so, they are the BCW World Tag Team Champions, the Exiled. They have been like a hot knife through butter when it comes to going through all the tag teams in the tag team division. They're looking to defend their titles here tonight for the 4th time. Can the Exiled do it against the number 1 contenders, the Brotherhood?
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is for the undisputed BCW World Tag Team Championship.
And here we go, the challengers, the Brotherhood. Cameron Lewis on the left, Isaac Taylor on the right. And the champions, Ultimo Nightmare on the left, Xander on the right. They are the Exiled. They are undefeated. They are the BCW World Tag Team Champions, putting the gold up for the 4th time here tonight. And that's what it's all about, the BCW World Tag Team Championship. Who is the best tag team in BCW? What matches the randomizer going to pick? Let's find out right now. And here we go, the bell is rung, the match is underway, and coming out hot with the Marcus Xander and the Nightmare Fuel, the 2 signature maneuvers of the Exiled. It is a BCW World Tag Team Title Elimination Tables match. Kicking off Random Draw with the first randomized match. It is a tables match, and because this is a tag team title match, it is tornado and elimination style. And this plays right into the hands of the Exiled. It was Ultimo Nightmare putting Isaac Taylor through that table on BCW just a few weeks ago in that one-on-one match. Can Isaac Taylor and Cameron Lewis get their revenge and make it double sweep by putting the Exiled through a table? And in terms of all the matches that the Exiled have competed in, I think this plays to their strength. The Exiled are known for that hardcore and deathmatch style, so they are quite accustomed to tables. But it's not quite the disadvantage to the Brotherhood as one may think, because the Exiled in tag matches, they have been seemingly unstoppable, but that's when you have to get a pinfall or a submission. If all you got to do is put them through the table, this could be the edge that evens it up for the Brotherhood. In our main event, BCW's top 3 competitors will compete to see who becomes the new number 1 contender. But in this one, we got Isaac Taylor. He's got Ultimo Nightmare up on his shoulders. Can he put him through the table? And his back gives out. Isaac Taylor's back gave out right there. He was trying to put him through the table the long way. And I think that is from getting put through that table a few weeks ago. That's got to make your back scream, crashing through. But Isaac Taylor, not surprisingly, matching up here against Ultimo Nightmare. Oh, and Isaac Taylor bringing out the fire. We got a flaming table in the ring. Not just a tables match, but giving it that extra little bit of oomph with the fire. Ultimo Nightmare got him up on his shoulders. Transitions to the powerbomb position and a nightmare fuel.
Isaac Taylor has been eliminated.
Isaac Taylor has been eliminated in short order in this match, and this is playing out now just like it did before the last time they competed. It is a handicap match now. Isaac Taylor being put through that flaming table. I think the only thing that potentially saved him there was he wears that full bodysuit. Oh, and here we go. Xander picking him up and putting him down. The Exile defend their BCW World Tag Team titles in a match that I thought was going to go a lot longer than that. Super impressive from the Exile. And look at that. Isaac Taylor just rolling through the fire on that one.
Here are your winners and still undisputed BCW World Tag Team Champions, The Exile.
The Exile defend the BCW World Tag Team titles, and I think the injuries of the Brotherhood were too much. Maybe the injuries were a little more than we thought, because the Exile come in here and prove why they're the tag champs, and they prove why they are the kings of hardcore wrestling. Congratulations to the Exile defending their BCW World Tag Team titles for a fourth time. The Exile, they're on a roll in 2024. All right, and we have our second matchup of the night, Amir Man versus Fancy Dan. And as I mentioned in our main event, Victor Payne has no friends, no help here in BCW. But we have seen over the past few weeks that Fancy Dan has been helping out Benson Hicks. And Amir Man is the manager and tag team partner of Grizzly Mac. So Mr. Jim has decided to put these two in a match here tonight, remove them from any potential involvement in the main event. And let's see who comes out with the win here tonight. Amir Man, Fancy Dan.
He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed 205 pounds. He is a technical wrestler coming to us from Tehran, Iran. He is Amir Big Money Man.
And here he is, Amir Man, one of the most technical and devious members of the BCW roster. He is the tag team partner of Grizzly Mac, and he's been helping him out as his manager in the last few weeks. But now he's getting in the ring himself. Can Amir Man get it done and pick up the win here tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fancy Dan.
And here we go, Fancy Dan. If you like a little sizzle on your steak, then Fancy Dan is your man. Coming to the ring with all his attire, cowboy hat in the red, white, and blue, possibly in honor of Benson Hicks. Fancy Dan, he's 4 wins and 5 losses here in BCW, looking to hit 500 here tonight. But the wrinkle is gonna be the randomizer. What match will the randomizer pick for the second matchup here tonight? And here we go. The 2 out of 3 falls match is underway. And Amir Man there with the money clip coming out with his finisher right off the bat. Amir Man coming out hot for this 2 out of 3 falls match. Maybe that is playing into his strategy. Pick up the first fall real fast, real quick. Obviously in a 2 out of 3 falls match, you are trying to get that first fall. Not just for the advantage in the match, but also to get that mental edge over your opponent. While at the same time, it is a combination of a sprint and a marathon. You want to get that first win. You want to get that advantage, as I mentioned, but you're playing the long game. You can't gas yourself too early. Otherwise, you might not be able to make up the difference in the second and third fall. So this is really going to play into the strategy of both these competitors. You got to sprint and you got to do the long distance marathon of this one. And a beautiful maneuver there with the swinging DDT, swinging that leg, getting the torque and the momentum. And Fancy Dan almost gets the 3 count there. And in terms of who the 2 out of 3 falls match benefits, I think it might be Amir Man, just because he's so technical and he has more experience than a Fancy Dan, but we're going to see how this one plays out. And as I mentioned, in terms of Mr. GM putting these 2 in a match to keep them out of interfering in the main event, I think a 2 out of 3 falls match is the perfect match to wear him down. And speaking of getting worn down, that's the dandy. That's Fancy Dan's finishing maneuver. 2. And Amir gets out at the last second, really shooting up that right shoulder to get out of that 3 count. Oh, it looked like he was going for it again, but Amir with a stiff elbow. Amir has that elbow pad on, but that elbow was stiff. Picks him up, drops him down electric chair style. What is he going for? Oh, it looked like Amir Man was going for that running blockbuster. He goes to the corner, runs out, and does that blockbuster maneuver. It looks like he's really trying to go for it, but Fancy Dan smartly rolls out of the ring, does not let Amir Man even get the chance to line that up. And a Michinoku driver there. Fancy Dan and Amir Man, they don't have the best records in BCW. They are both below the 500 mark. Fancy Dan is a lot closer to that 500 mark than Amir Man is. But in fairness to both these competitors, they have faced some of the stiffest competition in BCW. And they have looked absolutely amazing doing it. And speaking of looking good doing it, Amir Man with the running blockbuster quickly goes into the cover. Referee slightly out of position, but gets there quick. 2. When he's going here for... Oh, but Fancy Dan reverses into that power slam. Looked like he was going for the standing sliced bread. And Amir Man, a bit uncharacteristic, going to the top rope, looking to hit a big maneuver in this one, and he goes for that leg drop. No water in the pool. Fancy Dan, quick to recover, hits him with that big drop kick. Both these men so fast. And another big DDT. Is that enough this time? Floats right to the cover. Referee in perfect position. And Amir Man still kicks out. Neither one of these men want to give the other one that first fall. But Fancy Dan set up for the dandy again, and this could be it. Amir Man might not have a chance in this one. 2. Got him. Fancy Dan picks up the first fall in this one by hitting the dandy. Oh, and he's going... Oh, looked like he was going for it again. Amir counters with those rights to the head. Oh, and Amir Man with the money clip. Money clip out of nowhere. Can he even up the odds? 2? Oh, and Fancy Dan kicks out with authority. Amir Man can't believe it. He thought that was his ticket to evening up this 2 out of 3 falls match. And Amir Man, he has to go for broke at this point in the match. Fancy Dan is one more pinfall or submission away. Amir Man set him up for that running blockbuster. And he nails it. Is it going to be enough? Referee in perfect position. He's right there. 2. And Fancy Dan will not be denied. Fancy Dan just keeps kicking out. And Amir is doing the right thing. He is going for broke. He's going for these big maneuvers. Is he going for the money clip again? And he hits the money clip. Can he even it up to 1 fall apiece? 1, 2. Got him. Amir Man ties it up. We are tied at 1-1. The next fall will decide the winner of this 2 out of 3 falls match. And Amir Man is in firm control. Fancy Dan got that elusive first fall. But Amir Man building momentum. Is it enough to propel Amir Man to a win? Or can Fancy Dan turn the tides? Oh, and here we go. Shoots the half off that hip toss. Oh, and Fancy Dan gets him off the hip toss. Wow. Amir Man must have had some injury. He must have been hurt because that was unexpected right there. Unless Amir Man, he just chose to take the W to get out of this match. Maybe he knew he couldn't beat Fancy Dan. Maybe he's trying to save himself so he can interfere in that main event. But regardless, Fancy Dan picks up the win in this 2 out of 3 falls.
Here is your winner via pinfall, Fancy Dan.
Congratulations to Fancy Dan. Big win here at the pay-per-view.
Mr. GM, I hope you have a real good insurance policy for BCW, because at the pay-per-view, I am going to smash some faces in. I don't want a tag partner, and I don't need one. But you keep insisting that I get one so I can face the exiled and get my revenge. Let me tell you something about my revenge. The longer I have to wait to get my hands on Xander and Ultimo Nightmare, the more the bodies will pile up. I will smash everyone on the roster if need be. So make sure your insurance is paid in full, because at the pay-per-view, I'm going savage on anyone in my way.
The following contest is your main event of the evening and will be a 3-way match.
And here we go. It is main event time, and we are breaking down the tale of the tapes for this 3-way match. We have Benson Hicks, 5'10", 220 pounds, 7-1 in singles competition. Grizzly Mac, 6'4", 285, 7-0, and Victor Payne, the big man, 6'9", 375, 11-0. Combined, the top 3 number 1 contenders are 25-1. As I mentioned before, these 3 men are not known for losing. And some notable wins. Benson Hicks, he has defeated Sergio Gomez twice, Sweet Cox twice, and The Tool. Grizzly Mac, he has beaten Cameron Lewis, and at the time, Jason Shields and Adam Ace, who were the World Tag Team Champions. And Victor Payne, he has beaten current number 1 contender Tony Rizzo. He's beaten Slug, and he's beaten Tofik, some huge top contenders. These men are not facing ham and eggers to pad their records. They are facing top competition. And when it comes to the stipulations, Benson is going to want a knockout-only match here tonight. He is that former Golden Gloves boxer. He can knock out a person at will. Whereas Grizzly Mac and Victor Payne, they have the 2 best submissions in BCW. Grizzly Mac has that claw and Victor Payne has that Cobra clutch. Who's coming out with the win here tonight in our main event number 1 contenders match? Grizzly Mac, Victor Payne, Benson Hicks, the winner getting that guaranteed title shot. And I think tonight for this one, it is really going to come down to the randomizer. I think the randomizer for this match is going to pay huge dividends. It is going to be a huge X factor in determining the number 1 contender. But let's get down to it. The main event, who's coming out? Who's getting the title shot? Let's find out right now.
The following contest is a number 1 contenders match. He stands a towering 6 feet 9 inches tall and weighing in at 375 pounds. He is a freestyle wrestler who comes to us from Berlin, Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Victor Payne.
And here we go, the biggest man in the match, 11-0 singles record, the undefeated Victor Payne. He wants that BCW World Championship. He's got one of the longest winning streaks here in BCW at 11-0, so he has earned this number 1 contender spot. And he has that absolutely brutal Cobra clutch submission. No one has been able to get out of it. No one has been able to survive. And I think if Victor Payne can lock it in here tonight, he's going to secure that number 1 contender spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Grizzly Mac.
And here we go, Grizzly Mac 7-0. A few weeks ago, he got out of the tag team division and wanted to insert himself in the world title picture. Since doing that, he has won 2 more singles matches, bringing his record to 7-0. And as we mentioned in the tail of the tape, he defeated at the time BCW World Tag Team Champions, the Game Changers, Adam Ace and Jason Shields in singles matches. He has faced some top competition and come out with the win.
He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed 220 pounds. He is a technical brawler and striker from Dallas, Texas. He is the redneck, Benson Hicks.
The third and final competitor in this match, Benson Hicks, 7-1. Benson got inserted into this match because if you include his tag team record in with his singles record, he has the longest winning streak here in BCW. So we have 2 men who are undefeated. The third man has the longest winning streak. Something has got to give between these 3 competitors. Who is coming out with the win here tonight and becoming the number 1 contender? We're going to find out, but before we do that, we got to find out what type of match this is going to be. What match is the randomizer going to pick for this main event? Let's find out right now. Well, here we go. The main event is underway. A 3-way submission match to determine the number 1 contender for the BCW World Championship. And as we've seen in the tail of the tape, a submission match heavily favors either Grizzly Mac or Victor Payne. They are both submission specialists. They have some of the most devastating submissions here in BCW. Whereas Benson Hicks, he has not won a match in BCW by submission. I don't know how deep and extensive his submission repertoire is, but we're going to find out in this one. If he wants to win, he's going to have to pull out something. If he doesn't know many submissions, he might have to make up one. There's Benson Hicks taking out Victor Payne with that suicide dive through the ropes, and then Grizzly Mac just throwing the steel stairs right on him, and now a powerbomb to the outside. It is going to be fast and furious trying to keep up with the fast-paced action in this main event. And as per the rules of a submission match, it is also no disqualification. Benson Hicks knows that all too well. And in terms of a triple threat match, I think Benson Hicks is at the biggest disadvantage because on episode 3, it was a triple threat match to determine the first ever BCW World Champion. And it was Dirty Don using that no DQ stipulation in triple threat matches to secure the win. As I mentioned, Dirty Don smashed Benson Hicks's arm with that steel chair, hit him with the Dirty Driver, and picked up the win in the triple threat match. So Benson Hicks, he is not a fan of triple threat matches. He has not fared well in the last one he was in. Can he fare any better here tonight? But he is also at a double disadvantage because of the submission stipulation. The ideal level playing field match type would have been the Butcher's Brawl, which is submission and knockout. That would have played to the strength of all three of these competitors. But that is not how it shook out. It is a submission match. And in terms of determining a number one contender, when you get locked in a submission, you are forced to tap out. You mentally break by tapping the mat, so it's not like you can get a quick pinfall attempt and you kick out at 3.1. It is you get put in that submission and you are going to have to tap out, whether that's slapping the mat or verbally giving up. So in terms of all the match types, it will truly determine who is the number one contender, which man can break another man's will and climb that ladder and become the new number one contender, get that guaranteed title shot. And Victor Payne right to the top rope here. That is 375 on the top rope. That could have crushed Benson's sternum. I think Benson Hicks is absolutely destroyed in that drive-by kick. Might have sealed the deal. Grizzly back with that kendo stick. And Benson Hicks taking the brunt of all these attacks from these big men. But a signature maneuver there. Alabama slam. Benson Hicks is the smallest of these three competitors, so he's got to do some extra big moves. And Victor Payne off to the top rope again. Victor Payne, normally a very slow, methodic competitor, but he is throwing caution to the wind, going up top frequently in this one. He is an ultra super heavyweight, and when he goes to that top rope, even the most simplistic of maneuvers are going to do triple damage. Benson Hicks flying and hitting that DDT. And Benson with that big knockout style shot. That was what he wanted, was these knockout shots. Grizzly Mac rolls to the outside. Now it is Benson Hicks and Victor Payne. Oh, and he goes and throws him down. Gets him in that Russian armbar, that Fujiwara armbar, trying to hyperextend the elbow, the shoulder. Really wrenching on that shoulder blade. And Victor Payne with a huge powerbomb. Benson rolls to the outside. This is Fast and Furious trying to keep up calling all this action. Grizzly Mac with those steel steps. Benson counters. Just grinding Grizzly Mac's face into there and really trying to weaken up that shoulder. Oh, and Benson about 10 feet in the air. Victor Payne goes about 7 feet himself and just slamming him on that thin padding on the outside. Benson showing his punching prowess there with the taunt. Really getting in the head of Victor Payne, telling him to bring it. And Victor Payne just mauls him like a Kodiak bear, and there is Grizzly Mac. We mention it every time, but Grizzly Mac looks like he is carved out of granite. He looks like an absolutely jacked Greek statue, and when you give him that kendo stick, it's triple damaging. With the physique that a Grizzly Mac has, he does not need any weapons, so when he gets a weapon, it is something to be absolutely terrified of. And speaking of weapons, the steel steps. Victor Payne evades that. We got the two competitors in the ring. Oh, and Grizzly Mac bringing those steps in. Benson going for those shots with the southpaw left, slapping him. Grizzly Mac with that huge belly-to-belly. Victor Payne on the outside. This could be an opening for Grizzly Mac or Benson Hicks. And this is the opening that he needs. The big claw submission. Grizzly Mac has won many, many matches at BCW with this. Choking the life, restricting the airflow. Victor Payne gets in the ring to try and break it up, but it's a moot point because Benson Hicks gets out of it. Going for that armbar attempt, causing the break. And Benson going back for the shots, opting to go lefty on a Victor Payne because of the reduced visibility of that eye patch. Smart maneuver. If he could knock out a Victor Payne, if he could take him out of the equation, then it becomes a one-on-one. Grizzly Mac and Grizzly Mac with a steel chair. Victor Payne cuts him off. Benson Hicks teeing up the steel steps on the inside of the ring and opts to throw him down. Now Benson on the outside. Wrestling the chair away from Victor Payne. And if Grizzly Mac is dangerous with a weapon, you do not want the 6'9", 375 Victor Payne with a weapon. That could be a one-hit KO all to its own if Victor Payne has a weapon. And all three of these men, no matter what is thrown at them, they just keep getting up, they just keep moving forward because they want that #1 contender spot. But you gotta try and get it down to a one-on-one. You gotta try and team up with someone, or you gotta try and eliminate that one competitor, because especially with a submission match, you cannot have that third man hovering over you, waiting to break up the count. And Victor Payne's on the outside of the ring again. Could this be the opening for a Grizzly Mac or a Benson Hicks? Benson tries to go for those steel steps to do some extra damage. Grizzly Mac counters. But it's not enough. Victor Payne recovering quick. Looks like he's getting back in the ring now. No, Grizzly Mac with the reversal and hits Victor Payne right in the stomach, knocking the air out of him. All three of these men taking some heavy shots. Speaking of heavy shots with the spear. Oh, and here we go. Victor Payne's down. Benson with that Fujiwara armbar. Really just wrenching it in. He's got the wrist, he's got the elbow, he's got the shoulder, he's got the shoulder blade. For a man not known for submissions, that is a smart one. Take out the arm. Not only are you limiting the claw maneuver of a Grizzly Mac, but you are attacking multiple points on the arm. Oh, and Grizzly Mac going for the claw on Victor Payne. Benson quick to break it up. That claw maneuver, not only does it just crush your skull, he might get the fingers in the eyes, but it also obstructs your breathing. Oh, and another spear there. Grizzly Mac really picking up steam, but he's playing it up to the crowd, which allows Victor Payne to get back in this match. Oh, it looked like Grizzly Mac was going to the outside to get some more weapons. Realized Victor Payne was back in and just obliterating the midsection. And on a big man like Victor Payne, that is a smart maneuver. Attack the cardio, attack the gas tank. If you can weaken up that midsection, it might be the weakest point on a Victor Payne. I mean, Victor Payne is an absolute tank. I don't think he has any weak points, but the stomach and the midsection might be that point. The big clothesline there. Benson on the outside. Grizzly Mac going for those steel stairs. I don't think he can take out Victor Payne on his own. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. Benson gets away from Grizzly Mac with the stairs. Picks up a weapon to defend himself. And just hits Victor Payne right in the face, potentially right in that eye. Grizzly Mac counters. Benson counters that. Lots of back and forth, lots of counter maneuvers in this one. Victor Payne still on the outside. He is looking loopy. Grizzly Mac and Benson Hicks in the ring. Grizzly Mac setting up for something. And he's setting up with that kendo stick and just smashes it. And just breaks it over the midsection. Benson Hicks taking a lot of damage. And speaking of damage, just mauling him. Benson throws him off. And a big boss man slam there. Could this be the opening for Victor Payne? He is standing tall in the ring and he's got those steel steps. Benson Hicks stirring on the outside and Victor Payne just smashes Grizzly Mac in the face. Whoever comes out of this match as the #1 contender might not be in any shape to even compete for the world title. Victor Payne is smashing everyone with steel steps. And Grizzly Mac finally counters and hits him with a spear. Victor Payne is down after weakening that midsection. That spear did a lot of damage. Grizzly Mac is so explosive. He can generate so much power with that spear. And Benson Hicks going for the armbar again. Is it enough? Can he twist that shoulder out of socket? And he taps out. Benson Hicks is the #1 contender. Grizzly Mac tapped. Benson Hicks is the #1 contender and he tapped out Grizzly Mac. Grizzly Mac has been seemingly unstoppable. I never thought in my wildest dreams I would see a Grizzly Mac tap out. Wow. The only way I can see Grizzly Mac tapping out is if something broke, if something snapped or got dislocated, if there was a serious injury to a Grizzly Mac, because Grizzly Mac has an iron will. Huge win for Benson Hicks. We have a new #1 contender, and I can tell you this, out of all three of these competitors, current BCW World Champion Dirty Don did not want Benson Hicks to win. Congratulations to Benson Hicks picking up the biggest win of his career in the main event of Random Draw 2. Wow. And after calling that main event, we got to catch our breath here, but in tonight's results, we had the Exiled retaining the BCW World Tag Team titles in an elimination tables match. And not only did they retain, the Exiled did it in short order. Congratulations to the Exiled defending those tag titles. Then we had a 2 out of 3 falls match. Amir Man versus Fancy Dan. Fancy Dan picks up the win, 2 falls to 1, picking up the victories in fall #1 and #3. And then as we just seen, 3-way submission match. Benson Hicks, new #1 contender, picks up the win by defeating Grizzly Mac. And as we see on the graphic there, Victor Payne still undefeated in BCW. Well, that is tonight's main event. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you for night #2 of Random Draw.
On the next episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling,